Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
This is you without Collaborator. Invisible, just another seagull. And this is you with Collaborator. Get noticed in the AI era.
Online visibility is not luck, it's a strategy. Combine SEO, digital PR, and content distribution to grow. Visit adz.com to learn more.
Thank you so much for being here. For years I've been repeating this mantra that every interaction, every digital interaction that should be a conversation will become one. For years I've been saying that. And finally, I think as I stand here on stage, and hopefully in 20 minutes' time, you will agree with me that when it comes to search, this is now a conversation. So let's get into it. In today's story, I've divided it into 3 chapters. In the first part, we are going to be covering off some of the more interesting things that Google's been saying recently, some of the things that we have to listen to, we have to pick apart, and we have to follow what they're saying, or we're going to get left behind. The next thing we're going to encounter are the 2 elephants in the room that we've kind of all been ignoring. The first one is that when you're looking in any AI surface and trying to determine if your brand is present, what you see is going to be very different from what your audience sees. And for that reason, you need to be careful of making decisions based on what you're seeing. And the second elephant, does it even matter if your brand is in AI mode, for example, if you've forgotten it's a conversation which is ongoing? Okay, let's wind back to April of this year, when everyone was getting a bit tetchy about AI search, especially the AI overview. I don't think there was any cheese being glued on pizza at this stage. That had all stopped, but we were all still moaning, and everyone was hoping some things were going to go away. But the first thing that Google said earlier this year was that search, don't worry guys, it's a frontier experience, which means things can go wrong, things can go brilliantly, things can jump out from behind cactus, things can come and things can go. The thing that's not going anywhere, the one thing that's here to stay, the one thing that is going to be default in Google within 6 months, I'm telling you now, is AI mode. As Google tells us, it's not just a search interface, it's not a widget, it's not that. That ain't going anywhere. This is a paradigm shift. And paradigm shifts are huge. And Google's not used that term before. And when we think about paradigm shifts, think about the discovery that the Earth is no longer the center of the universe. The Industrial Revolution, the Digital Revolution, these were all paradigm shifts. And what's the one thing they had in common? Everybody who didn't follow and shift with the paradigm got left behind and were arguably worse off for it. And to add to that, we're in this shifting paradigm. Only about a week ago, the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, said this. How many weeks left in the year? About 10? He said, for the remainder of 2025, search is going to continue to change profoundly. So with all of this going on, Google started to give us advice, telling us what we need to do. And this is so important. Apologies for the amount of words, but it's a quote and I wanted to get it right. This is what Google was telling us in August, and it's so, so important. Probably one of the most important slides in this entire deck. Optimizing for query intent and layered topic coverage may increasingly, no, forget that. That's what Google said. I say 100% is going to help you perform better across AI surfaces, and this will outperform narrow keyword SEO. Let's pull this apart. Optimizing for query intent. Oh, but I love optimizing for queries. I love optimizing for keywords. But something's going on. We've moved away from the keyword game. We've moved away from question and answer. In the words of Prabhakar Raghavan, search is a journey of exploration and discovery. And as we go to these longer, more interesting 20, 30 word mixed intent queries, old school SEO won't cut it. And I don't care how well you optimize your page, URL, title, meta description, header 1, great content, double eat, helpful content. Today, we need layered topic coverage. And Liz Reed, Google's VP of Search, was asked, what does content need to do? And she said to uprank, content today needs to be richer and deeper. And then when pressed a little bit further, what do you mean richer and deeper? She said it has to be, we need to be talking about depth, uniqueness, and originality. That's layered topic coverage. And then, interestingly, after that, Google says structured content that answers critically not just the first question, but the second and the third. You can no longer come to the table with just a part of the conversation. You may be left out of it entirely. And what's structured content? You can structure content with schema. Yep, we should all be doing that. But we need to be thinking about structuring for a conversation. So if there's a conversation happening over there in an hour's time, and I know what they're talking about, and I know where that conversation is going, I need to come prepared with things to say, depth, uniqueness, and originality. But we can no longer just optimize for that first step. We have to go past that. We have to anticipate journeys. And to that end, Google says content should. No, freaking scratch that, Google. Content must anticipate multi-turn searches. As we used to optimize for keywords, we've got to think, well, if somebody's consuming my content, not on my page, nope, but in a synthesized AI environment, what might they want to ask next? Have I covered that off? Or am I just going to be left behind as the conversation continues? And as we talk about content, especially in the context of the conversation, it's easy to think that it's words. Oh, we need more words there. Our words have got to tell the story. Our words have got to answer the question. But while we've all been rightly so thinking about AI and surfaces and AI overview and AI mode and all this crazy stuff that's going on and turned this into a frontier experience, while all that's been going on, the SERP has been going through this crazy phase, and Google's working multimodal like it never has. So we've all been worried about this stuff. You've got to take a step back. Multimodal is where it's at right now, and this is a journey. And this is what Google says. Video and audio content may surface more easily. No, not may. It freaking does. Look at that web radar. That's like a burst from the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. And up there at the top, we have seen in the past 8 months a doubling of video content, video links, video carousels, video in AI. Your video content being consumed by Gemini and repeated back in conversations. And Simon said it, and he talked about videos, and we've already heard about videos and trust. Videos, what are they? They're content. They're more than content, they're fast content, first-hand, authentic, social, and trusted. They have a voice, and that's what people want. So if video is not part of your plans for AI right now, it really does need to be. And all this takes us to what I think is the biggest question in the room. The question that you've all been asked to find the answer to. I'm sure most of you had. And it's almost like, okay, you're going to go to Brighton SEO. You're actually going to have to go to it because it's raining. And when you're there, this is what I want you to find out. How do we get into AI surfaces, AI mode, LLMs, AI overview, ChatGPT? How do we get in there? Because we know it's coming and we know it's now a conversation. That's got to be the biggest question. And in order to even approach the biggest question, we have to face the two elephants. They're both supposed to be huge. Imagine the little one's huge. Anyway, that elephant. I mentioned it earlier. We don't do keywords anymore. We go to long strings of mixed intent. So you get 100 people in a room, you ask them to search for something, they're all going to search for something different and see something different. And as I'll show you in a minute, even if the search is identical, chances are you're not going to see it. Should we be basing decisions made on what happens at the start of a conversation? No. The big elephant is about the conversation. That comes after this. Same question, different world. And this one intrigues me. So we know people ask questions differently and they get different results. But in this instance, I've got a question. It's a good question. I know the answer. Should I get a gas or a charcoal barbecue? Obviously charcoal. I'll save you the trouble. But anyway, if you're searching for this, you've got 3 options on this screen. Actually, you've got 2, because one is I'm feeling lucky. You know how many people click on that? 1%. Freaking millions. Millions. And it obviously works, because Google would have taken it away. But now, anyway, I want the answer to this question. I'm going to spend some money on a Barbie. So I can click on the AI mode. Beautiful. Synthesized content. I love it. It's actually really helpful. And from there, I'm going to go on and explore a bit more. Or, I love blue links. Who loves blue links? Old school blue links. Haven't seen any for a while. But if I fancy a bit of blue link, I'll click on search. I don't see any blue links because I see an AI overview. It's a bit Wikipedia-ish. It's not as good as Mode, but it's all right. It's getting me there. And then I'm faced with a decision. Do I go into the blue links? Or do I dive deeper into AI mode? I'm not doing blue links. I'm going to dive deeper, head first, in there, in I am. And it turns out, if you go through AI overview, you get a freaking different result. How's my brand doing in AI mode? Well, that depends how they got there. Because Google uses the principle of contextual carryover. It knows, it assumes you've already read what was in the AI overview. You've consumed it, you've taken it. So you get something deeper and richer and arguably more interesting. So be careful of what you see at the start of conversations. But it's not just Google. What about ChatGPT? Apparently, we're months away from mass adoption, not of ChatGPT, but as a search tool. For searching, for looking at stuff. And that came from a report that was done with OpenAI in association with Duke and Harvard universities. It's actually pretty good. Feed that into ChatGPT and say, gist it for me, what do I need to do? And it'll probably come out with something like that, because that was the main takeaway. Months away. And what does that mean? When ChatGPT first came out, I'm sure a lot of you said, I want it. I don't care what it is. Here's my $20, I'm in there. Those are the innovators. And then you get the early adopters. And then you get the early majority. That's 20%. That's what we talk about when we talk about mass adoption. And the thing is, when those people are using ChatGPT and they're coming to Google or any other surface, they're not using keywords. They're using long strings. And it turns out that when you search, again, you might find something completely different. In this search, I asked for the best family co-op board games. And my result was totally different. You cannot be making decisions on what you're seeing here. Why is it so different? Because I'm using custom instructions. And we should all be using custom instructions. And at this point, does it even matter if you're looking in ChatGPT or looking in any surface if you cannot find your brand? I'd say no. Because it's a conversation. And for anyone that doesn't believe me, look at those numbers up there. Yeah, huge. Queries average 23 words. At 23 words, that's like 2 words. And it doesn't sound much, but let's compare it. 3-word query, best men's blazers. That's 3 words. 23 words. What are the best men's blazers for winter 2025 that are under 300 quid and suitable for smart and casual? 23. Watch the video if you don't believe me. And how different are they? We want the same thing. The intent is the same. We have to level up and optimize for intent because we're never going to see that query, which means it's more than 70. I'd say more like 80 or 90, but don't quote me because I'm just pulling out of my head. Are asking unique questions. And if every one of you repeated that query back to me, they'd all be different. because people are engaging in a multi-turn dialogue that's longer than 7 minutes. That's a conversation. So judging the performance of any brand at the very start of a conversation, the very first result, I put it like this. It's like judging a marathon on who's winning after 100 meters. And the last time I saw a marathon, I can tell you who was winning after 100 meters. It was a freaking pantomime horse, followed by some nutter dressed as a fridge and somebody with an ironing board who was going to iron every kilometer. They were winning. You can't put your money on them because they are not prepared to go the distance. So what we need to do, guys, is start to think beyond the result into the conversation. So we've been building this thing called a conversational presence index, which measures how far a brand remains in that what we know is a multi-turn, mixed intent dialogue. And in order to do this, you need 3 things. First thing you need is the original prompt the customer is using. No, you don't. You don't, because we don't know it. You just need the intent, and you can simulate it. You then need a result, and you then need to come up with the next question somebody might ask. Where do you get the next questions, the missing piece of the jigsaw? Well, if you're in the US, and you remember 18 months ago, I predicted these would come back. The conversational pills at the bottom of an AI mode conversation. I'm not going to blue links. This is a shift from vertical scrolling and click ping pong into a journey of exploration and discovery that is horizontal. We've got the ingredients. We know the intent of the original query. We know the result from AI. And now we have the next questions. If you haven't got those, just download Perplexity's Comet browser. It's got a built-in assistant, and it will actually do that for you over multiple tabs in one go. And if you can't be bothered, you know, because you're off to the pub in a bit, then click on that, because we're building this most incredible GPT. It's just got to go through some testing and stuff that will do the heavy lifting for you and help you to predict those conversational paths. I'll put that up at the end as well. So what do we need to start thinking about? We used to think about keyword groups, keywords, and all this sort of thing. No, we need to start thinking about conversations. And if this is my business, my barbecue business, there's a number of conversations I should be taking part in. Yeah, I'm obsessed with charcoal, so I'm going to get into one. Do I need to talk about health, safety, and sustainability? Sounds so boring, really boring, but we should. My audience want to know, so I'm going to create some content in there so I don't drop out of the conversational journeys. And then we can take this and map out multi-turn conversations and see the extent to which our brand remains or drops out. And then we can compare one conversation with another. Red is bad. Oh, I'm not in there. And the only decision you need to make at that stage is, do I care? Maybe you're happy leading those conversations to the community in Reddit or whatever. YouTube, maybe I want to get involved. Maybe I just want to monitor that. And then what we've done at Pi is we've taken this data and this approach, and if I look at the barbecues again, here we can visualize the conversation. Who's winning? If you want, there was a barcode on there, but it's not, but click on one of the ends. We can see when it comes to brands, but if you want more information on this, do hit me up on LinkedIn. When it comes to food and recipes, Weber wins. When it comes to smoking, Weber wins. They shouldn't be winning all of that. Kamado Joe's should be there, but they haven't got the content to remain in the conversation, so they are getting left out. So one of the final thoughts I want to leave you with, guys, is that we're approaching very quickly this paradigm shift where we're going from high volume, low intent to low volume, very high intent interactions. And that does require a paradigm shift. And I would definitely be stopping thinking about keyword groups and start thinking about conversations and the extent to which I want to be in them. And you can assign value to conversations because, of course, there are keywords in conversations, but you want to avoid duplication. And plan, above all, plan for the journey. Don't be satisfied with just getting into any AI surface and saying, yeah, I'm in there, I've done it, I'm going to go down to the beach or the pub now. You must plan for multi-turn, or we will be left behind, because it really is a paradigm shift. And for the first time, I'll say in SEO, you've got to go past page one, but it's not really a page one, it's an enduring conversation. And with that in mind, thank you so much for being here. And if you click that, that's where the GPT is. Thank you, guys.
Demand Sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.
Wait, do you want free ice cream, or do you want to know the latest in how search behaviour is changing? If it's the latter, download Search Pulse by Reflect Digital. Get that now.
You've got two blind spots, keyword rankings and LLM visibility. Now, most tools solve one, but AccuRanker solves both. See how at booth number 18.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.